It's Jordan with TYT Politics. Still out here where they are taking a little break from building this makeshift bridge to reach across the river and pray above where their ancestors are buried. I'm with Dee Dee. You're the go-to medic here at camp.
Well, no, I do public health. I'm sort of always around. People know who I am. We have
Don't bullshit. You're a big deal here.
Well, no, if it is, I don't know what that's all about. I'm just grateful and blessed and humbled to be able to be doing this. I spent 27 years in healthcare, and I realized it was to prepare for this, hands down.
We've been hearing that actual medics are being arrested as well.
Yeah, that is correct. Last Thursday.
And for what?
You tell me. They're out there helping people who are in immediate need of assistance medically. You tell me why they're being arrested.
Because that's not legal. That's not even legal in wartime.
No. And they were targeted.
And this was, did they see that they were medics, or it was just random?
They'd be the ones with orange vests and crosses on them who are actively treating the civilians right at the front line. So I'm pretty sure they knew who they were.
Tell me about what you do here. Do you handle from the little hiccups and health things to the big things when you have, what happened Thursday and people coming back?
No, for me, it's just a holistic situation. So it's about health promotion, illness prevention. I think out here just walking around and them knowing you, they can call me for any little cuts and scrapes when I'm talking to them, especially after frontline. There are, people who are toughing it out. They're doing all right. But there are salient features of PTSD. I mean, it's real. I experienced it myself firsthand. But the kids and the adults out there, they got that tough stance, and that's all good. But they need to also remember that it's okay to emote and to be vulnerable, and we want to provide that. And if I can do that one-to-one as I'm walking around, that's what I'm here for. So I just suss it out with each individual, and they'll let me know, and it works beautifully that way.
And we were kind of talking about just the sheer disgusting way the police, whether it's the state police, DAPL security, have just brutalized people here. And you were talking about how different it is in Canada. When you could tell the story because it really was powerful.
Well, when I was at the front lines last Thursday, that was a first for me. So when I went to the actual front lines, maybe 3 feet away from this large contingent in single file, having us sort of surrounded like a horseshoe at that point, I was right at the front where the heavy vehicles were, the armored vehicles, and just the whole experience. I mean, I've seen it overseas on TV. I've read about it. I try to school myself, so I had a pretty good understanding of what I was coming into. But I learned firsthand that it doesn't matter how much you know about something until you're right there. You can't know how you're going to react, And people always talk about, they're peaceful water protectors, but I see footage where they're screaming and yelling. Well, you know what? Until you've stood in front of that kind of overblown, ridiculous, inhumane militarization, you can't really know how you're going to respond. I wouldn't have that discussion with somebody because until they've been there, because I stood in front of them, and instead of walking away, I picked 5 of them and spent the whole time, hours, as they inched me back, and I stayed about 3 feet across from them. And I proceeded to allow them to witness my heart breaking. I was so frightened, and I shared that with them because I was in the moment, and I thought, what's the most appropriate thing I can do? I'm going to stand right here, and they can bear witness to my heart being ripped to shreds, my worldview being shattered right now. And I looked at them, and I just said, I said many things. It was hours. I just let it go. And the fear, like they could see it because I was shaking and I was crying and I was looking around like a deer with its eyes caught in the headlights. Like I was seriously losing it. And I just stayed there. And
What was their response to you while you were doing this?
a lot of them didn't want, they'd look and they'd look away and look away like that, right? And I would say to them, well, first I said, you know, in Toronto where I live, sometimes there have been sketchy times at night and I've called on police and I've always been met with kindness and help. You're there to help. And I'm looking at them and I'm saying, I am so scared right now, like for my life. And I want to run to you. And you're standing across from me and I can't. I don't understand what's going on. Why is this happening? Like, it's not okay. You are the guys who are supposed to protect us and me. And I'm scared. What am I supposed to do? Why are you here? And I looked at them and I said, you know, I forgive you guys for being here right now. I said, because you have bosses that are making some decisions that are very bad and very dangerous. And those bosses' decisions put you right across from me, the person you're supposed to protect. What are you doing here? You know? And I said, you know, my older sister's from Hennepin County, you know? She's going to see this. How does she, you know, rectify that her state troopers are out here standing across from her little sister who's a medic? And I looked at them and I said, just so you know, if bad shit goes down and you're bleeding out, I looked at the guy who was looking at me, you're bleeding out, my eyes are going to be the eyes you see. I'm going to be trying to save you because it doesn't matter who's out here who's hurt. I'm a human being. I came here as a human being. What did you come here as? Are you human or have you lost your mind? I can't understand it. And I'm crying. And then I smudged them. And I said, you know those elders in that tent that you say get out of there before you drive over them? They're praying for you. Do you understand that? This nation prays for you first because you are the ones that need help because your heart is not balanced. These people are praying for you. I am praying for you. I said I had a good government job that paid lots of money. I walked away because the job was no longer okay and I knew it. What the government was doing in healthcare didn't work for me anymore. I didn't have a second plan, and I was blacklisted because I gave them an epic exit interview, right? I said, sometimes in life there comes a point where you just have to say, hell no, I'm not doing this, because you need to rectify it within yourself. What are you doing, you know? And at one point, the guy that I was looking at, the guy beside him went to push me because I stayed so close. And the guy didn't look, and he goes, no, she's good. And then he leaned just a little, and I leaned a little because I was still scared. And he goes, Dee Dee, stick close to me, you'll be fine. And he was looking right at me. I felt like saying, what about the other people? You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
You know, it's interesting because, you know, you're a medic, so you treat it all, whether it's physical, mental, spiritual. And I think... maybe it sounds corny, but I think if you really look at this country, I mean, we could go back centuries to how this country was started, and obviously the Native American plight, the genocide, robbery, murder. But if you look in recent decades, it seems like mid-20th century, this country, the 50s, the 60s, there was a more equitable time. You know, there was a more community time. People in the neighborhood knew each other. One parent could work. The other one could be home with the kids. And then kind of like the 70s, the 80s, it was this kind of greed is good type of mentality sunk in. You had the Wall Street bankers kind of, you know, soaring and excelling.
But remember, all through that time, where were the natives?
Right.
On the res.
Mm-hmm. And I guess what I'm getting at is it seems like somewhere hearts and minds of the elite, shall we say, it just social Darwinism set in. And, you know, survival of the fittest. If you can't make it, you know, tough shit. How do you even begin to fix that? Because that's much bigger than who becomes president. It's much bigger than Standing Rock. Not that this is the most immediate battle, but how do you even begin to fix that when so much of the country is built on, I'm going to get mine and you figure it out for yourself?
I think that's what this is truly about. It's not about the pipeline. It's about the fact that we've come together to stand with the Native people who've called for us to come and stand with them. They are the ones that know how to get us out of trouble, morally and otherwise. Because if you come back to their traditions, we'll be just fine. Because it's not about money. It's not about greed. It's about everything from the heart. It's about prayer. It's about healing. And what's going on here, this is the most beautiful community one could ever be in. You're seeing the healing. You're seeing the warrior spirit come out. This is how we will heal. If we listen, this is key. If we listen. The people here are listening. Hopefully the world is listening. The Aboriginals and the natives here in particular, that's the 7th generation prophecy. We're here right now. This was foretold, okay? Mother Earth is hurting. Mother Earth is crying, right? This generation is tasked with teaching the rest of the world how to treat Mother Earth properly and live properly on this land. And we're bearing witness to it. This is the healing. If we want to know how to heal the world, we need to take stock of the fact that these people from the land are the ones that know. We've just put them aside. We've put them on reservations. We've treated them like shit. It's time to stop and listen. It's here. The power, that's why they fear. Just 200 years ago, same fear of the same power. It's a spiritual power that trumps everything.
I got to say, I've interviewed a lot of people this last year, and you're mesmerizing.
Oh.
You're unbelievable. So thank you for talking to me, and thank you for your courage.
It's actually the most humbling experience of my life, and I'm just blessed to be able to be helpful in any way,
I should actually ask for the people watching, what's the immediate things you need? You, the camp. Is it wood? Is it medicine? Is it food? Is it bodies? All of the above?
Love.